Hello, it's Alpha here, and today we are going to be talking about the new Special 5 map that was added to the Arena map pool this season. In this video, I will just simply go through some of the strengths that this map has as a defense team map, and then I will show a couple popular defense setups that I've seen people use on this map. I will also make a separate second video where I will show you how you can go about attacking some of these example defense teams. I'm actually a little bit sad to see the old Special 5 map go that we had last season, because I did think it was kind of like an interesting map for defense setups. But this new defense map is definitely something else. We haven't really seen a asymmetric map before on the regular arena, and it's going to be interesting to see how well it will perform. But let's get started with the strengths of this map. I guess we can just start with something that I just mentioned. In this specific map, because it's different on the attack and defense side, if you are the attacker team, you can't just simply mirror the defense team. And I actually think this is a good thing, because I think it's a little bit cheap if you are just mirroring the defense team and you are kind of like only winning because you are using the exactly same setup, but you just have a little bit like better weapons on your heroes, or a little bit better upgraded heroes. And with this map, that is no longer going to be possible, because you can't place the heroes exactly the same way. I'm sure that it will still be a thing where you can pretty much use the same heroes, and then maybe the end result will be still the same, even if the placement is a little bit different, but at least you can't like fully mirror the defense team on this map. So that is definitely something that is going to be good for your defense setups. Now, the second good thing about this map on the defense side is that only 3 of the tiles can be targeted by the attacking Rainier, and I have highlighted the 3 tiles here. So if you place your team something like this, for example, then the enemy can't use Rainier to target any of your heroes, and then you don't really have to worry about that. Now, this is already possible in some of the maps to do it, but it's always good to have another map where you can protect your team against Rainier, because Rainier is really strong when it comes to like attack teams. One other strength that this map has is that there is kind of like long distance between the 2 teams. So you can see here that I have highlighted that the length of the tiles between the 2 teams is going to be 5, which means that even if in theory you allow the enemy team to do the Rainier swap, if you have like Ludovic on your team, then your Ludovic will most likely stun the swapped enemy, and usually how you can counter that as a attack team is using something like Gerda, because Gerda can provide crowd control immunity for your team. But with this map, the attacker can't really do the Gerda plus Rainier swap thing, because Gerda can't reach the backline of your team, and this long distance between the 2 teams will also hurt like melee heroes in general. And then if you have like heroes that have short range, like range of 4 or 3, that means that they will also have to most likely kind of like start the battle by moving forward, so they are wasting some of the time. So as long as the defending team is using heroes that have like long range of 6 or something like that, then they will probably have some advantage because of the length of the map. The next benefit of this map is that it is actually pretty good against Aeron burst attack teams, and there are 2 reasons why that is the case. One of them is that with this map, because you have the option to kind of spread out your heroes quite a bit when you are placing your defense team, that means that Aeron's ultimate is not going to be able to hit all of your heroes at once if you spread them around, because Aeron's ultimate has range of 2. So here I have like highlighted the range of Aeron's ultimate. So you can see that obviously if you place all of your heroes on like the backside of the map, then they are going to be all hit by the Aeron's ultimate. But if you spread your heroes so that you are utilizing these front tiles and some of these back tiles, then usually that would mean that some of your heroes won't be hit by the Aeron's ultimate, because it's not going to be possible for it to reach all of your heroes. If you do a split like this, for example, this means that the Aaron's ultimate will pretty much never hit your Bonnie and Tassi, because the Aaron can only hit either the Bonnie and Tassi or the group of the 3 other heroes. And from what I know, Aaron will always target the area which has most targets, which means that he will always target this area. So your Bonnie is actually going to be safe from the Aaron Ulmus burst type of teams. So this is actually like one of the only maps where you can truly protect your Bonnie from Aaron ultimate. I guess there are maybe on map 4 it's also possible to do it, but then you are opening up your Bonnie for Sylvina and stuff like that, which is not going to be the case here. Sylvina is not going to be able to target your Bonnie in this specific position, or Nara, for example, is not going to be able to target your Bonnie in this specific position. I think the only way that someone could potentially target your Bonnie in here is going to be something like Walker. Walker might be able to stun the Bonnie at the start of the fight, or Atalanta might be able to stun your Bonnie at the start of the fight, but they still would need some kind of follow-up to be able to kill your Bonnie before she can then cast her aging debuff after the stun. And if we're talking about heroes like Walker and Atalanta, most of the people won't be having those heroes or will not be using those heroes. So I think Bonnie in this specific placement, for example, is really safe from all kinds of attack team ideas. I guess Alsa could also stun Bonnie from here, but yeah, Alsa might be the solution how you could potentially kill Bonnie without her being able to cast the aging debuff. But anyway, it's still really safe way to place your Bonnie. Now, one thing to note is that if you do a placement like this, for example, where you are using Lily May, in this specific situation, it is possible for Aaron to still hit your Bonnie, because even though I said that Aaron will always try to target the area with most heroes, which in theory would be the area where Lily May is, but because Lily May is kind of like untargetable at the start of the fight, then I think it's going to be like seen as 2 targets versus 2 targets. So then it's going to be depending on where the enemy Aaron is positioned, who he will ultimate. So if he's kind of like positioned at these tiles, then the enemy Aaron will most likely ultimate these 2 heroes. But if it's going to be positioned on at least on this one, but maybe also on this one, then Aaron will probably ultimate these 2 heroes instead, because it's going to be these 2 targets versus these 2 targets, because Lady May is untargetable. One thing that you could potentially do on this map is use Rainier. So if you place your Rainier on this specific position, and then you also place heroes on these 2 kind of tiles next to the Rainier, it means that the enemy team can't avoid the Rainier swap happening at the start of the fight, because the Rainier will target these 2 tiles that I've marked here, and that would only leave 4 other tiles for the attacker to place their heroes on. So they have to place one of their heroes on these 2 tiles. I mean, unless they run a team with just 4 heroes, I guess that is also an option. So that is something that you could in theory do, like this is an example what you could do. I'm not sure that you really want to be doing this anyway, because I think most of the people who have Rainier, they have left their Rainier at Mythic Plus, which means that obviously if you're fighting teams that have like Paragon 2 or Paragon 3 heroes, you are kind of like placing yourself at a Paragon disadvantage by using something like Mythic Plus. Now obviously if you have Rainier that is like higher ascension on Paragon levels, then maybe it makes more sense to kind of do this. But the Rainier swap effect can be actually like really powerful. Now the one thing is that because the attacking player can like plan their placement, they can like use some heroes that are not going to be that effective as the swap target. So if they have something like Scarlita, for example, they could use the Scarlita as a bait hero for the swap. so just it's probably not going to be the most effective defense setup to use Rainier, but it is possible in this map. I guess if you do end up using Rainier on this map, it will mean that the attacking team is going to be having a harder time using twins, because basically they will always have to, if they want to utilize the twins link, they would have to place one of the twins on these two tiles. Then there is the fact that because the attack side only has 6 possible positions where you can place your heroes, the attacker can't use the combination of Fresto and twins because they take most of the spaces, so you don't have enough spaces to place the rest of your team. Now another thing also is that just in general, Fresto is not going to be a good hero to use in this map if you are attacker heroes, because you can't get the benefit from placing the heroes behind Fresto and then also getting the benefit of having Fresto on one row. So that means that the effective of the Fresto is gonna be less on this map in general. So that is also good if you're facing a lot of like attack teams that are trying to use Fresto as part of the team. One potentially beneficial thing about this map is also that like we just mentioned, the enemy team has very limited space where they can place their heroes, which means that all of the heroes are going to be grouped up. So that means that if you are using heroes with like area damage, something like Siren for example, or Jaylene, stuff like that, those heroes are going to be very effective on this map because they will hit all of the enemies at the start of the fight. One potentially beneficial thing is that the enemy team can't really flank your team on this map. With some of the other maps, for example Arena 3, there is a way for the enemy team to place heroes so that they have the left side where they can place their heroes and then the heroes can just run up straight into your backline. One of the things is that you as the defender have more spots to link heroes in your twins link. So if you place your twins like this, they can have 3 heroes on their link, but the attacking player can only have the maximum of 2 heroes in the twins link, so that can be definitely beneficial for you as the defender. And then the last thing is that in theory, if you are the defending player, you can place some of your like melee heroes on the left side of the map so that they have like short distance to the enemy team. Which is usually good for your melee heroes, because the one main issue with melee heroes in general is that they will have to spend long time to reach the enemy team. So I have seen people like trying to place heroes like Athalia on the left side, for example, so that she has like really short distance to the enemy backline. Or people have been placing stuff like Tassi on the left side or Natsu. But honestly, I don't think this is a good thing to do if you are the defending player. Especially, it's not good to have 2 melee heroes like back to back, because the other one will get stuck behind the first melee hero. So definitely don't do that. But even just having 1 melee hero here, like your damage dealer type of hero, is not probably going to be a good play to do. Even for Athalia, I don't think it is a good thing to do, because Athalia you can just place at the backside and then she will do her dash to get to the enemy team. So actually having her just like closer to the enemy team is not going to be that much beneficial. But the reason why having melee heroes like Natsu or Lenia, for example, on close to the enemy is not good, because the enemy team can just place Ludovic like this, for example, where I have Ludovic placed here. And that means that Ludovic will start the fight by dropping the healing area, and then your melee hero will just run straight into the stun and get stunned for 2 seconds. And then if they have something like Lilimay next to the Ludovic or close by, the Lilimay will first target your squishy melee hero and they will just destroy your melee hero. It is possible that sometimes it will work for you if you place like Natsu there and they are not going to be paying attention and doing this kind of thing. It is possible that your Natsu just ultimates and kills the whole enemy team, yes, but there are easy ways to counter this type of defense placement, so I would not advise doing it. One thing that you can do, however, is place a tank hero in here. Because if you do a placement like this, for example, like I said, all of the attacking heroes that have like single target targeting, they will be targeting your tank hero in this specific position. So Lily May will hit the tank or Carolina will hit the tank. So this provides some extra protection for your backline heroes. Okay, so what is then the best defense setup for this map? Well, to be honest, I don't think there is such a thing as best defense setup. I think pretty much all of the defense setups have their own weaknesses. So as long as the attacking team knows how to do it and they have like about even level of like paragons and weapons that you have, and they have enough heroes to kind of like exploit the weaknesses of your defenses, they will win. There pretty much is no defense team that cannot be beaten, at least I haven't seen one. But I guess the best defense team in a sense is the one that counters like the most common heroes used on your server. So if you see that your server is mostly using something like Aeron and Almost Burst teams, then try to make your defense team so that it's good against Aeron and Almost Burst teams. Or if they are mostly using like Chimera teams, for example, then try to like make your team good against Chimera type of teams. Because it is possible that maybe your team is good against like Chimera, but it's weak against Aeron and Almost. But if no one on your server is using Aeron and Almost teams, then it doesn't really matter to you that the defense team is weak against those type of teams. Or maybe it's weak against like Igor, Satrana, Bonnie, but if no one has Igor and Satrana built on your server, it doesn't really matter that it is weak against those teams. So just keep that in mind that it is pretty much impossible to make a defense team that will win against all attack teams. But here are some defense team ideas for this specific map. These two teams I haven't really seen people use. I just kind of like made them for this specific video when I was trying to think like how can I utilize these strengths of this map. Now I'm not going to say that Aeron Ulmus team is good on defense. It is not a good defense team, but I guess if you don't have some of the other heroes that people are usually using, but you do have like Aeron and Ulmus, then this defense team can definitely work against some teams. And then this is kind of like a placement where I was trying to utilize the safe Bonnie position. So something like this could be good. This will guarantee that your Bonnie will get the aging debuff out. Now it is possible to switch some of the other heroes in this team. Like you don't have to have Tadin or Tassi in this team. You could use something else. You could use like Igor, for example, or whatever. But just the placement is kind of like the thing here. So that something like this could work. Then I've seen some people talk about like Athalia teams. So these can definitely work, although, like I said, all of these teams do have a way to beat them. But yeah, I've seen some people using teams like this. Then when I look at the Discord, so many people are talking about these different variations of Chimera teams. So people are using the Twins link with Chimera and Ludovic usually. And then the other heroes are like Bonnie or Siren or Lily May, or sometimes they're using like Fresta, for example. So I think all of these placements here are like pretty good versions of the Chimera team, so you can try them based on the heroes that you have. I guess you could also do some kind of like wilder version of the Twins Link team where you have something like Lily May and Aeron, and then you could have Brian so that your Aeron can ultimate, or you could have, instead of the Fresta that I have in this image, you could have Ulmus so that your Aeron and Ulmus burst will be more impactful, or you could completely drop the Brian thing and just let, if the enemy has Lily May, they will interrupt your Aeron's first ultimate, but then your Aeron will get the second ultimate at some point, so you could drop the Brian and bring some other DPS heroes like Siren, for example, or maybe you could have a healer in here like Ludovic or Damien, or like maybe instead of Fresta you could have Tassi, for example. Like there are a lot of different combinations, but something like this could definitely also work on this map as well. So after all of this, do I think that this is the best defense map? we have right now. I mean, I think it's definitely a strong defense map, but not necessarily the best map for all situations. For example, I'm still using Arena map 3 on my defense. So in this placement, for example, you have Satrana close to all of your heroes. And then you are also protected fully from Rainier swap with this placement. So I think this maybe works a bit better on this map. It is definitely possible to use same heroes on the other map as well, and maybe it's better on the other map. I just haven't done enough testing, but I'm just trying to say that it's not necessarily the best map for every specific team. Another thing that I mentioned a bit earlier is that if you are planning to use Fresta, for example, this map might not be the best one for Fresta teams because you can't get the full benefit from placing 2 heroes behind the Fresto and then getting also the shield for your Fresto for having them on the same row. So if you use Fresto on your defense, it might be better to still stick to the map 3 or 4. And I'm sure that there are some other situations where the map is still better, but it is still definitely looking like a strong defense map for a lot of situations.